The next question goes to Mr. Powell. Mr. Powell, it is often stated that the wheels of justice turn slowly. If you become circuit judge, will you try to speed up the legal process? And if so, how?
Well, in our First Circuit, with our judges here, we move these dockets. I mean, they move them, not we, they move them very, very quickly. And I've watched them in criminal court dockets where we line up 2 or 3 defendants at a time and get the pleas done and get it moving. And, you know, sometimes we'll have 700 cases on the docket, you know, the criminal docket. In Pensacola, I was over there 2 months ago in a hearing, and Judge Nobles was handling the criminal docket, and she came out for a break and said, "I'll be here at 10:30 tonight." So the judges work hard to move these dockets, and if you've been in one of them and been able to see how expeditiously and expedient they are in handling these dockets, it's a great thing. But like I said earlier, the problem with some of our docking is the courtroom space. So we've got the juggle courtrooms. You know, we transferred the old county commissioner's building, courtroom F is what we call it, into a courtroom several years ago. We've been trying cases in that courtroom with the traffic going by. So I think you know, I don't know how to do any better than what's been done with our local circuit judges. They've just done a great job in moving these dockets. We just got a crowded docket. We've had a great expansion of population growth here in the county, and their caseloads are doubled. I think Mr. Ketchell had quoted in the Daily News that there were only 1,500 cases filed in the circuit last year. Well, actually, there were over 10,544 cases filed in the First Judicial Circuit. 2,031 cases in Judge Barrett's division, 2,029 cases in Remington's. Judge Heflin's got the most because he handles the juvenile docket. 2,479 cases filed in Judge Heflin's division, 269 in Stone's division, 1,933 in Tolden's division. That's a lot of cases for these judges to handle, and they do a great job, and I will do a great job.
Thank you. I will ask for both candidates to please pay attention to Kelly and the time.
Okay.
Shall I say time? Will that help you if I said time?
We're polite people. We don't want to interrupt.
We're trying to, it's hard to cut us off right in the middle of it.
That's correct. It is. That's why we're not doing that.
We're doing voir dire. We're timed. We only get a certain amount of time to do voir dire, and we always.
Shall I say time? Would that help you?
I can see the card pretty well. That's fine.
Mr. Ketchell, your response.
Well, Dixie, with all due respect, you know, I think you've had a little trouble getting some of your statistics right throughout the selection, and you've had to retract on some of those, and you've gotten your statistics wrong again. What I said was that there were over 1,500 cases filed in this docket, in the docket we're handling. I think the actual figure is somewhere in the north of 1,600 cases. But that's the statistic that I use, and it's an accurate statistic. The issue with regards to moving a docket along is a complex one. One of the most difficult issues that a judge has to really deal with is moving his or her docket along. And one of the things that you have to do is you have to be prepared when you're going into court, and you have to work hard. Those are areas that are important. Those are areas that are covered on this judicial poll. That's why the State Bar put it on the judicial poll. And in both cases, nearly half of the lawyers said that Dixie did not have appropriate industry and was not properly prepared. Another key issue in this campaign.
Thank you. The next question goes to Mr. Ketchell. Mr. Ketchell, is enough being done to eliminate Is enough being done to eliminate so-called frivolous lawsuits? If not, what else can or should be done?
This is an issue that the bar has taken very seriously, and fortunately, the state legislature has also gotten actively involved in this as well. About 5 years ago, they really tightened up the frivolous lawsuit statute 57501. 57105 is the Florida statute number. Prior to this time, almost never would lawyers be able to bring an action on a frivolous lawsuit. But they've tremendously strengthened it, tried to bring it more in line with the federal rules of civil procedure and the federal statutes. Our laws have much more teeth in them now, and I think we need to continue to really go after frivolous lawsuits. But again, you're always balancing. If you're eliminating frivolous lawsuits, you also have to be careful you don't eliminate honest and sincere lawsuits. And so I think the legislature, this is one area that I think they've done a good job in. It's something we have to continue to monitor and try and make sure that the system is available to all for valid lawsuits, but not for frivolous lawsuits.
Thank you. Mr. Powell?
Yeah. That's a good question. And what has happened evolved over the last decade or so is the offer of judgment rule. And the offer of judgment rule is a great thing for both defendants and plaintiffs in a lawsuit, because either side now files what they call an offer of judgment, offers an amount of money to settle the case. And if you take your case to trial and you don't get 25% of that offer of judgment from the jury, then you are subject to pay the other side's attorney fees and court costs. And it goes both ways. If the defendant files one offer of judgment and you lose your case, you're subject to pay their attorney fees and court costs. If the plaintiff files an offer of judgment and you win your case, then the other side is subject to pay your attorney fees and court costs. It's been adopted in the federal system, and it's adopted in the state system, and it cuts down. But I tell you, when you got a client, I've never had a frivolous lawsuit, but I've got that client's case in my hand, and we go to court, it means something to them.
Thank you. The next question goes to Mr. Powell. What influence do you hope to leave upon the community after you're long gone from public office?
Well, if somebody runs against me in 6 years, they can have a public office, because after this campaign, I think I've got a first doctorate degree in it. But I hope, I recall the pride growing up as a young man, watching how our community leaders led and served, especially as judges, being in the courtroom as a youngster, and then growing up in college and coming to watch trials and watch people in the courtroom. And I just recall the pride I had as a young man, seeing how these great lawyers that I've observed over the years and learned from have handled themselves in the courtrooms. And I think that is something I hope that one day, if I'm successful as judge and I serve my time and help serve the community, that my kids will look at me the same way and say, Daddy, I'm proud of you, I'm proud of your service. And I think that's really important. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ketchum?
Well, I think when all is said and done, you want to be able to look back on your professional career and say that you left the community a little better than when you came in. I grew up in this area since I was 4 years old. I've seen a great deal of changes in over 40 years, almost 50 years. And I really want to see our area continue to improve. And I think having a quality judiciary is very, very important. And I think it provides not only service to the individuals, the important service to the individuals appearing in court, but also to the community as a whole. So my goal is, when I'm done, if I'm fortunate enough to be elected, is to be able to have people say, hey, it was a little bit better because he was involved.
Thank you.